All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to the Simeon Henderson Show, where we're giving a voice to the people. You know I love Wednesdays. It's hump day, but the favorite day of the week for me, because at 8 p.m., I get to sit down and talk to you. I get to talk to you and introduce to you some very interesting people and what they're doing and what's going on in the world. Gallery Guichard is the place that I'm sitting in. I'm going to talk to Andre and Frances Guichard. They are entrepreneurs on the south side of Chicago in the Bronzeville area, and they are the owners of Gallery Guichard. And when we come back, we're going to get into their minds and find out what makes them tick. So sit back, relax, as we get ready to kick off the Simeon Henderson Show like we always do, a little something like this. Let's go. All right, guys, it's that time. I'm sitting with the two entrepreneurs, Mr. Andre Guichard and Frances Guichard. And let me say this. This guy is known as the mayor of Bronzeville, right? He's known as the mayor of Bronzeville. Now, he's the visionary behind the diverse portfolio of work that's found in 2,500 different places. And I'm talking about offices, businesses. His work is all over the country. And it's just awesome to sit down with you guys. And I want to welcome you to the Simeon Henderson Show, where we're always giving a voice to the people. And it's a pleasure for me to personally know you guys, but now to go a little bit more in depth and talk to you guys about what you've been doing so the people that don't know you can get to know you. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good to be your namesake.
Hey, so let me say this, guys. You know, I like to give you fun facts. So Andre's middle name is actually Simeon. So how fitting is it for him to be on the Simeon Henderson Show, on the Simeon Show, his namesake, right?
That's right.
So,
that's right. Very rare. First time that's ever happened.
And it's so cool, man. I just want to say this before we get into the interview. You guys are so refreshing. I love talking to you. I love it when we're at events together. The way that you guys interact with people, the energy you bring, the love you show, the respect. I think it's so important because when people get a lot of status, people are looking at you almost as superheroes because you're doing things that they're not doing, or they're admiring your work. But what you do is you come right down and you get with the people. That's right. And bringing me to this, give us a backstory of your grind. So how you implemented your vision for the art gallery.
Good question.
Yes.
And humility is king. I'll just start with that because there was, you know, so many young people, I think about success in this day we live in. And a lot of times because of the internet, it seems like you can do things overnight, or you can be the president within 5 years. But my story, our story, is really one, personally mine is a 30-year overnight success. Mm-hmm. And I say that because, you know, the grind of, you know, becoming an artist, becoming a professional studio artist, becoming a curator, becoming a gallerist, becoming a collector, becoming a philanthropist, all of that was part of that 30-year process. Yes. And I think that's really part of what we'd like to talk about today, that, you know, if you are passionate about what you do, if you love what you do, you know, that 30 years goes by in a wink of an eye. So it's really been that kind of thing.
So you're right in my wheelhouse. You're in my wheelhouse. You know, and you asked the question, how long has it been now since you've been doing the show? And I think people have to learn about that consistency. Ooh. And when it comes to my motivation and this, I've been doing this stuff for years, and people are now catching on and they think, oh man, no, there's been work. And speaking of work and speaking of years, and as we get into it, let's come over here to your lovely wife. And 20 years you spent working for the government.
Yeah.
And see, we know a lot of this, man. We do our homework. So 20 years you spent working for the government, right? And then here you go on this journey with Andre, and you guys succeed.
Yeah.
What was that like?
I think it's rewarding, I should say, first of all, because I think people should know that you can do anything you put your mind to. I'm actually able to fulfill my dreams with Andre. When I first started out in government, actually I didn't start out in government, but I migrated to government. I got my degree in my a master's in public health, yes. And I thought I was going to be a scientist forever.
Right.
But in a sense, I still am a scientist, because I actually felt like, it was the opportunity for me to do something different. I've always wanted to own my own business. Yes. My brother owned car dealerships. Pretty much all his life he's been an entrepreneur, and I've watched him grow and be successful as a businessman. And I've always wanted to emulate him. Yes. And when I met Andre, I've always loved art. So it made sense for us to kind of like come together. But it was an opportunity and very rewarding for me to be able to experience my dreams with a wonderful partner, yes. Andre, and be able to, just live out our dreams. I've always wanted to help and give back. And these are the opportunities that I have to do that.
That's so good.
Speak to collaboration.
Hey, this interview is about you guys.
Okay.
So it's called Giving a Voice to the People. I'm the host. This is about you. We want the people to hear everything you have to say. So go right at it.
No, so I'll just tell on what Frances was saying about working together as a couple. And, there's something really special to that, because I think once you understand the power of collaboration, just two people collaborating, mm-hmm. and individually, we are able and capable of doing so much, but together, mm-hmm. we're very effective and we work well together. But I think it also speaks to the power of our community. Once we start collaborating, and our success and climate success has been through activism and collaboration, whether it's someone who was a collector who helped to create an inroad or a path, whether it's one of our first corporate contracts with Walgreens, one of our collectors, Letha Gillespie, really kind of was a mentor for us to get our first contract for 7,000 stores across the country.
Wow.
And that was during the first recession. So being able to survive 2 recessions was partly because of collaborating, networking, and then watching what's happening in terms of the tea trees of that recession and adjusting. And then with this last recession, adjusting again and pivoting. So it's been a great journey. Been able to travel the world, go all across Africa, find artists, and continue to grow and expand. So I'm excited. We're excited.
Yep, I'm listening just like you guys.
We opened the business together. We actually started the business the same year we got married.
Oh, that's dope. See, that's dope. So it wasn't like he already started and then here you come. No, you guys started together.
Yep.
And I believe in affirmations. I believe in faith, and I believe in 2 or more times you hear something, it establishes a thing. Mm-hmm. I've been talking about the power of partnership for 3 years straight.
Oh, wow.
Because I do the motivation, and I said I want to do a piece on that. Mm-hmm. And when you just said that, that's one last solidification I need.
That's
is because there is so much power in partnership. And when people see that, the proof is in the pudding. Right?
And you just came back from out of the country.
Yes.
And we've been observing this particularly as we go to the continent or go to South America. Mm-hmm. Even though you may experience other countries and societies that are not as wealthy as us, you can really see the challenge of our community as a family.
Yes.
So because the destruction of the family was so systematic and part of systematic racism in our country, we have to understand rebuilding the family in business as entrepreneurism is key to us rebuilding our African selves as communities.
Yeah,
I can go on and on, but
we really, man, drop those nuggets. Yeah,
those nuggets. Right, and be creative. in your will to be an entrepreneur, you don't have to follow what everybody else is doing. There are so many opportunities to, you know, build and to be able to provide a service or, you know, a product to someone. Be creative, think outside the box, and then collaborate, because you do need each other, as Andre said, to be able to bring in those clients and uplift other people.
And I never knew. It's so funny. I just worked on a project in the Caribbean, and I was the only American. Everybody was from Africa, from Nigeria, from Jamaica, from France, from the islands, and it was so refreshing for me, A, to see how they welcomed me, but B, to see how much we had in common.
Yes.
I worked with my Nigerian brother, Aina, and everybody thought we were brothers. They said, you look Igbo. And I never thought about it. And then I started researching, and I'm like, oh my God, I do look like I'm Igbo. You know, so that partnership and not being scared to step out and into the creative, I think is dope. And when you talk about collaborations, let's touch on this. So talk to us about the over 2,500 corporate and private global collections featured in your diverse portfolio.
So that 2,500, if you broke those down, those are collaborations, whether it's through activism from a collector who collects your work and then spreads the word, because, you know, these amazing pieces of art are more than just decoration. As you know, there's always a story behind the piece.
Yes.
And once you connect with what the artist was feeling and how he's able to become a channel, to channel his energy into that painting, then that energy comes back to you. We were with the client yesterday and she expressed it so well, because that's exactly what it is, and that's the energy that happens, and that's kind of the business we're in, transferring energy from artists. So it's that connecting and those stories that really make the difference, and how we've been able to connect. And those 2,500 people have come through art enthusiasts who are really activists, but then art enthusiasts who may actually be able to introduce you to new clients that may be a corporation, or just pushing a new platform into different markets. So it's a combination.
So I think the cool thing is, everybody know we dealt with this COVID situation and all of this. So it was a time where we're now getting back to where people are getting together a little more and coming out to events and things like that. But you guys did something super cool, and you were doing virtual exhibitions, right? So, Ms. Frances, talk to us about the catalogs offered by Gallery Guichard when you talk about the virtual displays.
We've been blessed because, you know, when COVID first hit, we were told cities shutting down. And we were like, oh my God, we need to start talking. And we need to start thinking about how we can, you know, get through this. And so we were all talking, and everybody came up with some ideas, and we ended up with the virtual exhibition catalog. It's an opportunity for people to dive right into the gallery from wherever you are around the world. And you're able to move around and move up to the painting just like you're here in the gallery, and move about, touch on the little tag at the bottom, just like you were reading a label. It gives you the title, the medium, the artist, all the information. And because of that, people from all over the world were watching while we were all shut down. And they were enjoying the artwork. They were buying the artwork. We were selling the art and transporting it all over the world. And the Metropolitan Museum of Art reached out to us to ask us to provide our catalogs for their research library. They're the largest holders of modern and contemporary catalogs in the world. So that's just like amazing.
Come on, you're talking about doing it.
I'm telling you,
guys,
these people? So good.
And it's good for not just our artists and our gallery, but for the collectors who've been collecting this work for 30 plus years during my journey. So those artists who've been collecting now are in a prestigious museum's catalog and archive, so that also helps with appreciation. But, you know, I want to talk about a little bit, if I could digress on what Frances was saying about the virtual exhibition catalog, because for our business, it did what the record did for the music industry. And what I mean by that is, if you think about it, Simeon, for the record, if this was a set and we were a band, unless you were there, that's the only way you saw it.
Right.
With our business model, we have 100 pieces every 2 months that come in the gallery. For 16 years, just think about the volume of art that has come through Bronzeville, original works of art. So unless you were here, you missed it.
Yes.
So now this technology allows us to preserve that moment of the opening with the work perfectly, the walls white, all the pieces there, the information about the art. You can go back 16 exhibits and culturally binge on artwork at www.galleryguichard.com at our virtual exhibition catalog section. And why this is critical is because for so many of our customers, there's a husband and a wife.
Yes.
If the wife came and she liked it and brought it home, and the husband didn't, or vice versa, you could have a problem. So now they can shop together at leisure. So it's really great.
So you're not spending their money without
that's a big
without talking about it first.
Date night. It had become date night.
That's right.
And it was wellness because people were at home. They were feeling a little depressed because they had to stay home from work and they couldn't get out and socialize. But they started looking around at their walls and said, I need something to brighten my day up. And so they started buying artwork.
I love it.
And so, sometimes when there is something that seems to be disastrous, something beautiful blooms out of it. Just like when you have a fire, eventually something will grow from that. And so we have to stay in our minds steadfast to what we're doing and never give up.
Yes.
We have to make sure we understand that there's something brighter on the other side. Always stay positive. And that's what we did. We tried our best to make sure we gave everything that we had to offer to our clients and our friends through our art.
I got to make sure I get you guys some Be Symbolic shirts because it means being deeply rooted stimulates growth.
Yes.
And simply your best.
Nice.
And I love telling the story because people need to hear these stories. Growing up, being illiterate, not being able to read till I was 6, and then pretty much having my own word with my own meaning, but just not letting someone's opinion become my reality.
That's right.
And something that you say, and I don't even know if you realize you say it so much, but you always talking about activism. You're talking about the people, and tell us how art is a reflection of activism and next level radicalism for you. Because I noticed that when I look around at your art, I see history. I see people. I see culture. Tell us about that.
Oh, brother, you really hitting on it, Simeon. Because it goes so deep because this community is sacred ground.
Yes, sir.
We're standing on 80 years of art movements in this neighborhood, going back to the Work Progress Administration. During the first recession in the 30s, Eleanor Roosevelt actually came to this neighborhood and opened one of 100 art centers as a part of stimulus. And these 100 art centers were also layered with money to artists. So you had a beginning of a movement, an art movement in this neighborhood, which would be WPA artists like Dr. Margaret Burroughs, Archibald Motley, famous artists that Charles White came from this neighborhood, and then the Wall of Respect is in this, not far in this community, and then on from that, artists that are my contemporaries from the 80s and on. And so what you have is we're all standing on the shoulders of greatness, art greatness. But during all of that time, it was a revolution because our artists weren't getting written about by the critics. They weren't in the museums.
Right.
So it was the community, the activism, a history of activism, of collectors. Now, you may drive around and you can see the opposite side of the greatness of this community and think there's no wealth.
Yes.
But there's so much culture. I mean, there are communities and collector clubs on the South Side. Diaspora Rhythms is an example, where many of our collectors and collectors like that have 50, 100, 300, 700 original works of art that they live with that are appreciated. And I think that's the other part that it's just not about the love and the romanticism of our culture and how wonderful our culture is and makes you feel. This is valuable, and this culture is appreciating, and our diamonds in the rough are appreciating at 200%, 300% within 5 and 10 year periods, and these are things that we're not always participating in. And I'll end with, while 500 and 200% sound like an astounding amount,
Yes.
the highest selling living artist of color studio is in this neighborhood.
Wow.
In the world right now, living artists. And a lot of people don't know Kerry James Marshall's story, but I say this because Kerry James Marshall is an exponential example of a living artist of color whose works that sold for $25,000 in 1999.
Wow.
A year ago sold for $21 million living. And this is real. And I think that's the part that we as a community have to dive in, because it's just not our houses that appreciate, our culture appreciates, and we have to get into passing on wealth and culture.
We definitely have to talk to him, because
Yes.
people need to, this is what we need to see and what we need to hear. And guys, you're watching the Simeon Henderson Show, where we're giving a voice to the people, and I'm sitting down with the awesome Andre Simeon and the lovely Frances right here at Gallery Guichard in Bronzeville with the mayor of Bronzeville. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a break, and we're gonna see what the Chicago Fly Guy has to say with the top 5 things that you need to know right here on the Simeon Henderson Show. And then when we come back, I got a special treat for you guys.
Hey, it's America's favorite personality. Yes, your Chicago Fly Guy. And tonight I'm bringing you the top 5 things that you don't need at the holiday dinner table. Number 5. We don't need Aunt Clarice's prune cobbler at the holiday dinner table. Yes, you heard me correct. Prune cobbler. This is not the time to introduce your New Year's resolution to the family on regularity. Number 4. We don't need stuffing cooked on top of the stove at the dinner table. What we need is dressing. Yes, dressing cooked in the oven with a little giblet gravy. Number 3. We don't need the re-gifted, unappetizing holiday fruitcake at the dinner table for dessert. Number 2. We don't need Brussels sprouts at the dinner table if you're going to make a casserole. Treat the Brussels sprouts like Bennett, because you don't need to put them in it. Number 1. What we don't need at the holiday dinner table is the inebriated Uncle Drunk and Aunt Bunny. Yes, leave Uncle Scotch and Aunt Teeny at home. Hide all the alcohol and all the beverages so that Uncle Scotch and Aunt Teeny don't start arguing and disrupt the holiday dinner. I'm your Chicago Fly Guy, and these have been the top 5 things that you don't need at the holiday dinner table, right here on the Simeon Henderson Show.
Okay, everybody, we are back. You know what? I don't know where the Fly Guy gets this stuff from, but he was dead on. I'm big. Everybody knows I like to cook for the holidays, and one of my favorites is dressing. Not stuffing, dressing. And this whole prune cobbler thing he was talking about, I don't know who's trying to go to the bathroom, but I'm good on the prune cobbler. What about you guys?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, we're gonna pass on the prune cobbler, Fly Guy. So thank you for that. But before we finish up this interview and get a little more knowledge from these lovely people, I have to give a shout out to our executive producer, Jamani Anamdi, who is actually owner of Anandi Art Gallery in Miami. It used to be in Chicago, and they have one in Detroit as well.
Right.
So we have to give him a big shout out, and our other producer Jose Perez and your Chicago Fly Guy. So this interview, this setting, this whole thing is just awesome. We've been talking about a plethora of things, you know, from the community to the history of art and what and the meanings and what you guys have been doing. I want to go a little bit further and talk to, and I said it was Andre was going to be the curator. I'm sorry, guys, he's not. We're going to come to the artist, Miss Frances. And Miss Frances, what I'd like for you to do is tell the people a little bit about some of the things that has transpired in Gallery Guichard over the years with the art and how it's affected the community.
Excellent. You know, actually, I'm Frances Marlene Campbell Guichard, also known as the artist Marlene Campbell.
You got a lot of names, correct?
Yes, I do. So when you look up my work, it's Marlene Campbell.
Marlene Campbell.
However, you know, it's 16 years in business. We have done some amazing things and we've been blessed, you know. And I remember just the opening day, 2005, August 11th.
Oh, wow.
And here we were on the steps of 3521 South King Drive,
wow,
where we had hundreds of people out for this opening of our gallery. We were on the stairs, flowers, music, beautiful artwork, curator Andre Guichard walking around, and we had people, you know, talking about the gallery and getting us started. We had so much support.
That's cool.
And over the years, we've been able to really, you know, do a whole lot of things with wonderful people being supportive of the gallery. From, you know, the ability to have 7,000 stores showcase artwork by Andre Guichard on tote bags, as he mentioned earlier, to the ability to travel and do bridges with other countries in the diaspora, because here we are talking about educating people, helping them to understand the importance of the diaspora. We are connected to Africa. We are connected to people around the world from African descent, and it's important to know that. Lots of times you'll be able to travel and you'll see people that look just like you, and realize that we are all connected. So when we get the opportunity, we travel and we bring artwork back, or we may even take artwork there to travel both ways and educate. And we've also just recently, well, we moved here in 2014. So we were at the location on 35th Street for 9 years. In 2014, 7 years now, almost 7 years here. And we actually have done like host events where we have people who have birthday parties, weddings, bat mitzvahs. Here in the gallery, we also have now a relationship with a caterer who is amazing, Michael Bonner, where we can get food and delicious cuisine, which is upscale, white tablecloths. And we also have had events where we have worked with the Bronzeville Art District Trolley Tour. And we do this every year. We've been doing it for 16 years, where people have been able to tap into each of the galleries in the community, be able to see the artwork, come to Gallery Guichard, and now on December 17th, you're going to be able to see the virtual exhibition catalog that we have coming up. We've done things with the Prudential Building. It used to be called the Prudential Building. Now it's called 1 2 Prove, where Andre, myself, Stephen Olalakin, whose work you see behind us, Adam Guichard, we all have artwork in the Prudential Building. So people from all over the world traveling and traversing through the area can see, you know, our artwork, and so we're getting exposure that we probably would never have had. And you know, it's just so important to know that, you know, when, as Andre mentioned earlier, collaborations, connecting with people, working with people, helps you to broaden your experience and will help you to be able to give experiences to other people. And so we've been able to bring in the culture and help people, you know, who are hungry for it, because our people are really hungry for it. And it's not just our people, other people are hungry for it too. So we get a very diverse group of people who come through Gallery Guichard, and they love all the artwork. So there's so many other things I know
That's
I'm
cool.
missing
No,
that we could have talked about.
No, there's
Yeah,
one.
but we need about 3 more hours for that.
Right.
I'm
Not-
telling you.
No, but there's one chunk that's about a decade that really transformed our gallery to more of an international gallery and international relationships. And you mentioned Jemani, and your executive producer is also
Oh, yes.
was one of our gallery partners for the Bombay Sapphire Artisan Series, which was a 15-city juried art contest where every year we would get over 6,000 art submissions around the country. We'd separate them by region, and we would work with gallery partners. So Jemani's Gallery in Detroit, Jemani's Gallery in Miami were host gallery sites where the top 20 from each city would have a chance to exhibit in a gallery. And a lot of times artists for the first time had never had that opportunity. So we were able to uplift 15 artists every year for 10 years and take them to Art Basel, exhibit their works on Scope Miami Beach, and give them access to people who only buy on platforms that are very expensive.
Yes.
So Jay-Z purchased Hugh Brantley's work during our Chicago artist platform where he was the Chicago winner and went down to Art Basel.
Wow.
So those are the type of things where our work has really made a difference bigger than what we are in connecting to all those galleries around the country and Canada. And to this day, Jemani and I laugh because he was my go-to guy, and if something happened, I call him. He was my best friend then. Best friend, we got a problem.
You talk about bridging the gap, people. There is no gap.
That's right.
I love it. There is no gap, and that's what it's all about.
Exactly.
It's about, I always say, you guys say, each one, reach one, teach one,
Yes.
and work together.
Work together.
And that's when you have, and I don't know what you're doing. I don't know if she's looking at my questions or whatever, but you know, I was going to ask you about the 7,000 store. You talked about that. You talked about the global bridge. And no, but your passion is really, it shines through. We love what you're doing. And I'm looking forward to working and collaborating with you guys. So you guys know, if you ever need a host, call me. That's what I do. I make the people smile.
Right.
But we have to teach people about the power of partnership. And I think you guys have been doing a tremendous job of that. It's cool for me because I knew your work, but now I really know your work. And now the people watching the show and all over the world are gonna really know even more about your work. There's something coming up, and it's on December 17th. Tell everybody what they can look forward to on December 17th and how they can get involved.
Excellent. Thank you. You can join us virtually for the 6th and final Bronzeville virtual art tour, which actually during the summer we had from June to December a hybrid version where we had some in person, some virtual. So now for the 6th and final art tour for the 2021 season, you can join us on Friday, December 17th.
Yes.
From 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. virtually. And you can sign on and get your RSVP information on Eventbrite. And the RSVP is?
Bronzeville Art Tour.
And the bit.ly?
A bit.ly is, well, they can just go to the Bronzeville Art Tour on Eventbrite.
Okay.
Right.
Excellent. And you know, it's really important because what we found is a lot of people may not really understand the gravity of who we are as a community of African people who've migrated across the world and now into Bronzeville. But there's so much history in this neighborhood, in this space. This is sacred ground. This was the first African-American department store in the whole country. The Ben Franklin store, owned by the Jones brothers. The Great Migration Sculpture Garden was the historic Palm Tavern, which was one of the few black and tan clubs, which meant these were the only places in Chicago black people and white people could watch jazz together.
Wow.
And that's because of where we lived and what it was. So all this history is bubbling up and you have to be a part of it. And we'd like to invite you out. You can join us, www.Gallery Guichard, for the final edition of the Bronzeville Art Tour. You can drop into Gallery Guichard and the other participating art galleries in the neighborhood, Blanc Gallery, Southside Community Arts Center, Fay Gallery, and of course the Bronzeville Art District, Bronzeville Artist Lofts.
Dope, dope. So guys, I hope you guys have been enjoying this. But before we get out of here, you guys have to know something else about Gallery Guichard. This is not just an art gallery. So what I want them to tell you guys about is Gallery Guichard also serving as an event space. So they have events here, okay? So tell us what that's like. We're talking about weddings, about mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs.
Right.
What?
Party. So anyone can have a party here at Gallery Guichard. You know, it allows people to come into a space and be able to enjoy the party atmosphere while having this amazing art backdrop. So they're able to then, you know, even walk around, look at the artwork, instead of being in a boring space where you're just sitting down and just at your table. You get to walk around, move around, mingle, might even meet your future husband there. It has happened a couple of times.
Yes.
And you know, you can go to our website again at www.galleryguichard.com.
We'll put it up. So
excellent. And then you can find out more about how to rent the space, but also they can email us at galleryguichardsocial@gmail.com. And that way we will send them our rental overview, which tells all the details about how to get your rent space for your event. And then also our catering menu. We have an amazing caterer that you can use for your event.
And what's his name again?
His name is Michael Bonner with Let Us Entertain You. And we also work with Taylor Frutrell. And you know his food is amazing. We had an event for right before Thanksgiving. It was called The Art of Love. It was an event, white tablecloths again, where we had china, you know, no paper cups. We had no paper plates. We had silverware. We had all of that. It was an amazing time where we talked about art and love. But he did a demonstration around food and art.
Wow.
And then he also prepared the meal for us to eat. It was so good. I can still taste it. I mean, who eats pumpkin pie? We ate pumpkin pie. And it was
you
so
know, I'll be like, man,
good.
you better bring some sweet potato pie up in here. Do you know they taste almost the same?
Man, you would have loved it.
They taste almost the same. I used to laugh at my friends, and I think Jose was one of them, because I think he likes pumpkin pie. So I was like, I ain't no pumpkin pie, and I tasted it. I'm like, it tastes like sweet potato pie.
Right.
You know, so that's cool.
It must have been the whipped cream.
So, man, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. And before we get out of here, I need you guys to say one more thing. So you're talking about the event space and the art and things like that. We are sitting amongst some beautiful pieces, guys. Can you tell everybody, and you'll see a little clip, can you tell us whose pieces are exhibited in the gallery right now?
This is an example of a rising star before your eyes. And I'll say that because just 5 short years ago, this artist, Stephen Olalekan, whose work is behind us from Nigeria, had not been in America. He had not exhibited his work, and he landed, and the works behind us that are 5,500 were probably 1,500. And from the time that he came into the gallery, his works have continuously sold out. And this is one of 5 different series that he works in, where in this series, the medium is paper mache and acrylic on canvas. So it's a mixed media sculptural painting, but it's actually made over a long period of time because of how much time it takes for the paper mache to dry. But landscapes as a genre, the most popular of all genres of the art that's purchased. But what he's doing is taking a landscape and a nude and blending them, where she appears to be part of the landscape, or she is the landscape or the mountain. And I think just his approach and the colors are just amazing. So this is a preview for the exhibit that will open in 2 weeks, and I just want to say this is really another example of how for us every month is like Christmas, because we just got these works.
Right.
You open them up out the crate and you're just excited, just like everyone who'll see the show in 2 weeks.
So man, I thank you guys so much, and I'm gonna say this out loud. Somehow, some way, I'm gonna get my brother Simeon and his lovely wife. I'm gonna figure out a way. So guys, you hear a little siren going by. It's okay. It's the sounds of the city. We are out on location. So I'm gonna figure out a way to have you dig into the crates and find me a nice little art piece that you think will be good for me. Because I said it and I'm gonna do it. It's time for me to start getting into art. And when I was growing up, I couldn't draw. My mother could draw, my brothers could draw, my aunt, everybody could draw but me. And what I found, I ended up, so I love a challenge. When I was in college, I minored in art. And you know what was my thing?
What's that?
Oil painting.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
I did my first piece, and my mom, when she passed, I've been trying to find where she put it, but it was the beach, the water, the sky with the birds, like that depth. So I was like, oh, I can't draw, but I can paint.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome.
I couldn't draw a stick person to save my life.
Well, at least you know you can look around and see the works that speak to you, and then you know, you fall in love.
It's
and
awesome.
You buy it, then you live with it.
Yeah.
And that's the part that people who haven't lived with art before, it's almost like you haven't had kids before. You don't know what that's like. But once you do, it just changes your life. And most importantly, it doesn't only make you feel good, but it appreciates. And I want people to get this. Pass on wealth and culture. The appreciation is more than the stock market, property. It is something that we have to participate in. See art, buy art. See art, love art, buy art. Live with original art. Simeon, I appreciate you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you so much. Guys, you're watching the Simeon Henderson Show, where we're giving a voice to the people, and I've just been enlightened. So this is a special episode of the Simeon Henderson Show where we got to dive in art and learn about art and live art and know why art is so important, not only to our culture, but to people in the world in general. And I just want you guys to remember to always be symbolic, simply your best. And don't forget, art is life. I'll see you next time on the Simeon Henderson Show, where we're giving a voice to the people. Have a great night. Thanks for hanging out with us. Peace.